I know who killed the video game curse. It was Josh Rubin with the Werewolves Within. Barely using the candlestick still, but yeah, whatever.
There's a candlestick in this movie?
No. I was making a Clue reference.
I get that. I was more or less, it's like, okay. I was with you until you said candlestick.
Yeah. I wanted to throw something out there.
No, it's very Clue, which is funny because I watched that the night before I watched this movie.
Nice.
Because I was like, I'm bored. I kind of want something fun to watch. Clue's still fantastic, which is still
yes, it is
way better than it has any right to be.
Oh yeah, I'm sad that people did not appreciate that movie when it first came out.
It's a cult classic now, so better late than never. Which is kind of, I feel like what this movie is going to be, ironically enough. So Werewolf Within. I did not even know this is a video game. I thought it was weird that Ubisoft was making a movie.
Yeah, because I actually have the game. I just never played it because I have nobody to play it with.
I mean, it's basically just like the card game, but on a video game platform, right?
Yeah, it's a VR game where basically y'all sit around a campfire and point fingers at each other.
See, that's why I know people don't have it, is because it costs like $400 to play.
Yeah, I mean, it might be able to play without the VR version. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it was pretty low key.
Now, granted, say what you will about Ubisoft, I do not support them as a company. That being said,
damn them for actually making the first legit good video game movie.
So this is kind of a resignation case. Like whenever I buy something on Amazon, it's like, I hate you, but I'm still gonna use you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Werewolf Within. It is relentlessly quirky.
Yeah. This is very much a mix of like a little bit of Clue, Knives Out, and arguably even Twin Peaks. There's like just all these kind of like.
Okay.
Huh?
I was definitely gonna make the same comparison to Clue and Knives Out. Yeah.
I mean, not Twin Peaks. The idea that like the way that people act. A lot of people like say there's some overacting, but it's definitely kind of the point here where it's like these are meant to be just very strange individuals with the only two normal people being. Sorry, I got the list of the characters here. Deputy Finn Wheeler and Cecily Moore, the postal lady.
Yeah, I mean, like this is definitely like this is opportunity again, like Clue, where everyone's job is just to chew as much scenery as humanly possible.
Yeah,
that is everyone's goal here. To what extent, I think, is up for debate. Like I personally could have done without the gay stereotypes representing the liberals. That's kind of one of those guys. It's 2021. Are we really still doing this?
Yeah, because it was them and the rednecks are just like kind of the laziest stereotypes.
Like the rednecks, I can even kind of give a pass because that's not like a such like an like a minority group,
Yeah.
So like that's just entitled dumb white person. Sure, I'm fine with that. Whatever. Like, it's a little lazy, but okay, sure. I can do without like again gay stereotypes of 2021. This feels like you guys come on, do better.
Yeah. That being said, even the stereotypes, they still got some good lines in.
They did.
That's the thing where it's like that is one of the reasons I can forgive this movie is because even like the most stereotypical characters had some great lines in this movie.
They do.
Like the part where just like with the gay couple, there's that whole bit where they're like talking about one of the characters like you see in the trailer her dog gets eaten. And just like they're so blasé about like how racist they are and like how racist the dog was by proxy.
Yeah.
It's like we want to feel bad, but we're just saying your dog only barked at Jews and brown people.
Yeah.
Or what was the other line I got to laugh at was just the less flamboyant of the two. Just although he was definitely really snarky. Yeah. There's some part where just like everyone's aiming the guns at each other, just like. Are we having a Mexican standoff? Don't say Mexican! Just call it a standoff!
And there's some good lines there. I do feel like this movie's politics is a bit confusing. Like, that was one thing I was trying... Like, I got a good handle on what they were going for. It was like, okay, I could see what they were trying to do here. Because, like, it's very overtly, explicitly political.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of what I heard about The Hunt.
Yeah,
in
like
some regards.
it gave me some Hunt vibes there as well.
Yeah.
Like this one doesn't have quite the same cop out that, well, it kind of does. Yes and no. That the Hunt does. The Hunt kind of has a cop out in the third act that is like how much that bothers you will affect you in degrees. But like this one more or less follows through in what it's trying to say, and then it kind of has a third act MacGuffin that kind of underlines it a little bit. But like not enough to like ruin the movie by a stretch of the imagination. Again, oddly enough, kind of the same way that the Hunt did, where it's like, if you can let go of that little piece, you'll still have a great time with it.
Yeah, because it's just like I said, the movie is legitimately funny. The horror elements not so much.
No,
but
it does
even
get
then
in the third act.
Yes, it does.
So I will get into that a little while because I don't want to give anything away. But that was the case. It's like, oh, I see where they're going with this, and then they kind of veer away from this. Like, oh, what are we doing now? Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Oh my god! And just the way it escalates, it was legitimately like, okay, you won me over, movie. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well played.
Like it basically you will get some Twilight Zone the monsters are due on Maple Street vibes is the best way to put it. Because I'm not going to say whether or not there actually was a werewolf or not, but like this is one of the things I do appreciate about the movie is like even though I kind of figured out like who the culprit was, and once again, not saying whether or not there was a werewolf involved. The movie for the most part does a good job of kind of like giving you a reason why any of these people could be like the culprit involved.
For sure. Yeah. No, I figured it out too pretty early
Same
on.
here. Yeah, like I think I guessed it before, just like a few minutes in.
I mean, like that's because you and I watch a shit ton of movies too.
Yeah.
We get an idea of just how story structure works.
That being said, I will also say I appreciate that the movie did have some like things you kind of had to keep an eye out for. Like it was also very purposeful in like kind of laying out who the culprit was in like certain scenarios.
There was enough use of misdirect and laying out various clues here and there, and the way it's structured and the way it plays out and the way the characters play off each other does kind of keep you guessing, even if you have a really good idea of where it's going. And then even if you don't, even if you're like pretty dead set on what it is, the journey to get there is still very, very entertaining. Again, you can forgive for being too clever for this movie. I always feel so pretentious saying lines like that.
Speaking of the humor, I also really appreciated the sight gags and the editing in this movie.
Some very curious choices.
Like what was one of the ones like the way they use the cinematography to like reveal one of the other bits where it's like where like Melania Weintraub's like trying to tell Sam Richard's character about the just be careful where you're going because like the guy's arm's like by the way just one last thing, and then just the way the camera just like slowly just like shuffles over to reveal trespassers will be shot sign. And just like the way that they hid that for so long that you didn't even like feel like it was being hidden.
Yeah, and there's a few good shots in there. I think my favorite one was just without giving away what like context, which is the part where one character ends like shooting a gun through like the door, so you see the bullet holes in the front of the door, and then somebody comes into the side door, and then you just see the flash of the gun go through the bullet holes. I thought that was a really cool shot. And stuff like that. So there is a genuinely good eye for direction and writing and sound in this. That all plays together very well. I will say like it does like sorry, like I said, I've been working all weekend. I'm a little tired. My brain's a little fried.
No, I get it. Gay responsibility.
That's more like Bay Area living, which is
that too.
7 days a week. Woohoo. It's okay. Things are going to change starting next month. I'm looking forward to it. It's a long story. Anywho, so like I said, like one of the main things I think is interesting, like I think they could have done more with this kind of goes to spoiler territories, so I feel like we should get to that pretty soon because like, I feel like it is worth talking about. Is the fact it is definitely trying to make some Trump what's I'm looking for, commentary throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, because one couple, the one has the dog guy gets killed. They're a surprisingly like this just upbeat uber Republican like couple.
Yeah. And that's far from the only one, because the whole crisis of this movie, and this isn't giving anything away, this is set up in the first 10 minutes, is this guy named, I think, Roberts comes into town, and he is like this person who, I think his name is Roberts.
Let me double check. No, Sam Parker.
Oh, I don't know why I got Roberts, but anyway. Sam Parker comes to this town, and he wants to build a pipeline. This pipeline has people divided on two sides. Parker's side, by the way, is demonstrated by a legitimately like phallic-looking gas monument in the middle of the town, which is supposed to be the like representing the pipeline and masculinity and rah, all these things. And all these people on the other side who are angry at the liberals for presenting this pipeline being built and getting all this money and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, if you want to protect the environment, all these stuff, and they're largely represented by the gay couple, which is kind of what makes that part a little more offensive, honestly.
And there's also the doctor there, Dr. Ellis,
who's also there.
And also the woman who owns the inn, whose husband is killed in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. But basically they're clearly trying to draw a parallel where like Parker is clearly supposed to be Trump. The pipeline is supposed to be the wall, and everything else kind of divided along those lines, which eventually leads to what eventually leads to. And I did like where it eventually went with that, like in very clear, explicit terms. But it's very confusing up to that point what they're going for exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it feels like it got like kind of like The Hunt. It wants to play both sides, but it's not as confident about as The Hunt is. And again, that's not like enough to knock the movie down, but it's like if it wasn't clearly making like references to Antifa and like liberal snowflakes, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But my point is like, if you're gonna bring those things up, shouldn't you do more with it? So like that again, that's a personal thing for me. It's not enough to kill the movie by a stretch of imagination, but it's more like if you're gonna go there, like be more confident what you're going where. That's all my point is there.
And then Finn Wheeler, the deputy, he's basically meant to be the one that's just like, in essence, the can't we all just get along type. The idea that cooler heads will prevail, and the idea of like trying to understand that there are supposed to be like better parts of people despite like these viewpoints and like the frustrations with each side. And this is trying to be, it's like, and basically, humanity. There we go. That's what it was trying to be.
Which I recognize the ideal behind it, although the older I get, the more I start to disagree with it more and more, because that makes a lot of implications, which I do not agree with.
Yeah.
But that's my personal politics for that's a topic I'm not going to get into right now. That I did got all out of my chest during the, what was it? Trial of Chicago 7. So,
right.
So go watch that video for that. I do want to go into spoilers. I can't really think of anything else to like give me anything.
Yeah, we kind of have to go into spoilers just because like how things turn out. But I can't think there's like any other things that we can talk about before. Because like I said, just the movie gets a little nutty after a while, and I just love how just like even the movie's just like, what just happened?
Like I think for just for those who don't want to go into spoilers, like I do recommend this movie. It's a lot of fun. Like if you like Clue, you like this movie. I feel like is a good barometer. For a movie that's based on a video game I don't think a lot of people have heard of, it's surprisingly good. So I had a good time with it. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, kind of tempted to watch it again while I still have it on the rental.
I know, right? Let's get into spoilers. What do you want to go into first? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So, basically just, everything kind of kicks off with the husband of the hotel owner there, who's also one of the holdouts, but apparently her husband is revealed to be someone who actually wanted the pipeline to get made.
And
that's one of the things that like they do to kind of like start the misdirect is, it's basically all the people that are like pro pipeline, they're like getting attacked or picked off or something like that.
they kind of use it as a red herring to a certain extent. Although again, like they're still clearly trying to make a point with it.
Yeah.
Because like there is a whole part where things start going nutty and everyone's accusing each other of being a werewolf. Once they kind of figure out there's a werewolf and they may or may not be a werewolf involved. Yeah. Everyone's accusing everybody of something. They all say, fuck it, we're all going to go in the wild and figure it out on our own. Which is, of course, where things go from like, oh, where's this going to? Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because then everybody just starts murdering everybody.
Yeah. It's like at that point, it's like, it doesn't matter. They've basically become the proverbial werewolves.
Yeah. So
just like slaughtering each other.
Like, the crazy lady with the dog kills one of the gay people with like a fucking
like those spouts you stab into a tree to like drain out maple,
like a syrup sprout or something like that, and just like, oh Jesus Christ, because she wants to make a craft store with the money they get from the pipeline. And then meanwhile, like there's the true people that are just a little bit nutso and who are clearly like on some kind of drugs all the time. One makes like a fucking Freddy Krueger claw with like knives in there.
Like,
and starts threatening people. But then he gets run over by his girlfriend who thinks he's still in the house. And then she gets shot by the crazy lady with the dog.
Yeah.
All in the same,
and I just love Melania just Vine Trump's response. Just like they're all just like, this town is batshit.
Yep, like
it's just like so deadpan. That line freaking broke me.
Yep. So all this shit's going on, and I like. So it's kind of making this implication that this eventual division leads to just forming hard lines, and everyone just goes after everybody. Which goes into like I almost would have preferred if there wasn't a werewolf. Which I kind of feel like that's where I'm saying there's a bit of a cop out in terms of its messaging around that point. Because it all leads to the eventuals of Parker believing there's a werewolf and hunting a werewolf, but in reality, the point that was it Flynn?
Finn.
I was close.
Yeah.
Officer Flynn makes it just like, no, you came in here, you divided all these people, and that's why like everyone's killing each other over something that like over this stupid thing. You're the actual monster here. It's like, okay, cool. You're clearly making the Trump stand-in, like the monster. Cool, good message. Don't fully agree with it, but at least I can see where you're going with it. I'm more like oddly enough, the message I agree with more is like in Wonder Twin in the book Wonder Twins, where they had a Trump stand-in, and it turns out the whole message is like, no, they didn't love him. They just liked him that he allowed them to be monsters. But like again, that's my personal preference. Like I can at least see where they're going with that. It makes sense. It follows along the narrative path throughout the movie. But then it turns out that what's her name?
Cecily, played by Melania Von Trump.
Cecily is actually the werewolf, which you and I saw coming.
Yeah.
Which I feel like kind of underscores like the previous messaging.
Kind of yes, kind of no, because it still had the idea of like manipulation and sowing like seeds of fear. Because she talks about the whole thing about like how she was trying to do that, and just like Springling's like it's like it didn't even take much, just like a little thing, and all of a sudden you're at each other's throats.
Like I guess again, like my problem with that is the fact that they made it political. Like, did they just want to do that as a commentary on human nature? That'd be one thing. But by bringing in directly political stances on there, you make the messaging of that more political than what's the word I'm looking for? Psychological. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So therefore, that reveal, while it has a place in the narrative, does kind of underscore the whole political narrative it's going for up to that point.
For me, it could also just be a case. One could argue that's also a case of like they're trying to say that like basically all the way that we kind of fight goes beyond the politics, and that it's just like that's just kind of not necessarily an excuse, but it's a case of like I'm not saying this is what actually is, but like it goes beyond that, and that is why they layered the political stuff first. It's like you think it's this, but no, really, people can be worse than that for any fucking reason.
It kind of feels like it's playing both sidesism, which just doesn't feel particularly helpful.
Gotcha.
So like I feel like if that is what they're going for, that's also still a cop out. Mm-hmm. Because it's saying like, oh, politics doesn't matter. Everyone's just bad, which again, just in this day and age, is just not good messaging. in my opinion. Because again, that kind of feels like it's going for like, oh, every side is bad, so therefore nothing matters, kind of like South Park mentality, which is like, again, like the longer we go on with this political cycle, the worse that message becomes. And South Park kind of like raised a generation on that mentality to the point where it's like we're now kind of seeing the damaging effects of it. So it's like, if like that, to me, that doesn't really work as a narrative payoff.
Right.
So I'm me being stubborn nowadays. I'm gonna stick with my guns on this, and say that yeah, like I can see what you're saying, but if that is what they were going for, it still kind of feels like a cop out.
Yeah.
Now that being said, I did like the payoff with the reclusive man in the cabin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, he had some good moments too. Was it Emerson?
Yeah, Emerson. Because his whole thing is he's the reclusive guy in the woods. He's kind of crazy, like Hunter, like makes his own, like clearly built his own house, has his own furs, stuff like that. Who doesn't know who Mr. Rogers is?
Which also reminds me the way this movie fucking started.
Yeah, I was like, all right, that's clever. On the other hand, I was like, how dare you misappropriate Mr. Rogers like that?
Yeah, no, it was like that. It's like the moment they did that, like, okay, I'm gonna have a good time here, because like they give some like quote about like neighbors and like love and stuff like this. And it's like the ominous music, and they just did that little "Duh, Mr. Rogers."
Yep, something like that. I was like, all right, clever. Like I enjoy the. Oh, did my camera go off?
Yep.
Oh, hold up. There we go. Yeah, so like I enjoyed that joke, but as someone who like borderline worships Mr. Rogers, I'm like, how dare you? So that's a very personal thing. I would fully acknowledge. It's a funny joke. But they anyway, so they go to the cabin and they bring that up to him. It's like, who's Mr. Rogers? And they're trying to explain who Mr. Rogers is.
Yeah.
And in my head canon, he spends the rest of the entire movie just wondering who the fuck Mr. Rogers is. So he eventually looks him up. And that's when and start watching some of the videos, and that's what inspires him to come and save the day at the end. Like this bitter, cynical man is like, I want to be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Just comes down and like hits a werewolf with a shovel. Now, like one hand, like as a way a movie like this goes, I understand completely why they put a werewolf in there to begin with. It's like if you spend all that time building up this werewolf and then you don't have the werewolf, that is also kind of a cop out in a weird way.
Yeah, because I mean the games are all about there is a fucking werewolf. It's like you can't. Yeah. It's like with I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Because if they took it out, it would have been kind of like what they did with well, no, because at least then you can make an argument for why they could take it out. But then I was gonna say then it might end up being more like the Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah, but it's kind of a weird case where they kind of wrote themselves into a corner in that way. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't type scenario.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not saying like how dare this ruin the movie. No, it doesn't. Because again, like if a movie was all about finding a werewolf, there had to be a werewolf at some point.
Yeah,
I get that. I respect that. I just think the way it was written could have been like more consistent.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really like that actress whose name I can never remember.
Melania Weintraub.
I know you've said like 5 times. It's still not going to stick because it's like a really
fair enough.
Like it has more than 4 syllables. That's going to be tough for me.
Yeah, I adore her as an actress. Like she is really damn funny. Especially anytime like she's showing up on like At Midnight. She was always one of my favorites.
I know she was Squirrel Girl for a while, like in the animated series. I wasn't a huge fan of that interpretation, but I know she was supposed to play in live action, which she never got to do.
Yeah. What else? And of course, but yeah. She was great. Just like her snark was just, really damn good. Just kind of like just really deadpan, yet at the same time she knew when to be expressive. So this the other thing is like I really do like, even though I kind of guessed it there, I like how the movie did layer in little things that like even if you couldn't, didn't notice based on like the fact that it was kind of obvious. Is they kind of layer some things that make sense afterwards. Like, for example, when they go to see Emerson to like say, hey, look, there's this werewolf attack. We need you to trap him. And at some point, she's like, look, it's the color of the dog. And I was like, because that was the case. It was like, okay, there's only 2 explanations. 1, he found it, or 2, she put it there.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes it most obvious, if you look at that still the entire time, that collar is not there until she points it out, meaning like she basically put it there when she had a free moment to do it. And secondly, there's a part when one of the Republican guys are attacked, Pete, because he's just also a total creeper who is like constantly trying to
inappropriately touch people.
Yeah, specifically women.
Yeah.
By the way, that also led to probably one of my favorite gags, which I'll explain later, or one of the jokes. But anyway, after he's attacked and everyone's figuring out like what happened, she's the only one that isn't there. Like she doesn't show up for the next scene.
I was trying to look for it. I was looking for who was missing too, and I missed that.
Yeah.
I figured out because like they're framing her too nice. She's probably the werewolf.
Yeah, that too.
There was one other thing I will give this movie credit for, even though I've complained about like some of the narrative choices and stuff like that. I did like this movie had to say about masculinity. That is one thing I liked.
Yeah. Like like how they made Finn. It's like
it's like doing nice things for people. Why is that such a bad thing?
Yeah.
So like I like that stuff. Like I said, anytime they use Mr. Rogers in a positive way, I'm always happy about that because anyone who knows me knows that like that is like a thing for me.
Yeah.
So like anything like promotes that I'm good with as long as like in a way that works. Like be nice but don't be stepped on, basically. Which like all right, cool, I can get behind that. That's valid. I'm definitely not one of those people that's like because right off the bat I was getting a little worried because it's all about introduce I know it's not Flynn.
Finn.
God damn it.
Yeah.
My brain is not working today.
It's
Finn is listening to like masculinity tapes in his car about like saying balls over and over again and shit like that. And then they like drive by a phallic like gas monument. And it's like, where is this going? And it turns out it was someplace nice where like it's all kind of bullshit. It's not necessary to be a good person. You don't need to be that way. It's like, okay, cool. I can get behind all of that. I'm good. We're good.
Yeah.
So like even though I do have like gripes with how it handles things politically, there are a lot of other stuff that I do really, really like.
Yeah. What else? So like I was saying, like we mentioned like, stereotypical gay couple, then there's the stereotypical rednecks. They actually got me probably like one of the biggest laughs in the movie. Like I wish I could remember some of the others because like there was a lot of good lines that I unfortunately just kind of forgot. Yeah. But like it was in regards to that whole Pete thing, it's like, come on, we didn't make a big deal of this, when like Pete slept with Gwen here, my wife Gwen, and just her response. Okay, first off, that was 4 years ago. Secondly, that never happened. The way that they basically just went full in on how stupid that was just like, I don't know why that line broke me.
Yeah, that's why I can never live in a small town ever.
Yeah. God, what else was funny? The way that Republican lady got dispatched was pretty funny. Because it was basically it's like she held them at gun. She held Wolfson. So the Argentinian of the gay couple, I can't remember his name. Yeah. I just know that he's apparently in What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series.
Oh my god, he is. The Gustavo or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, and that was the other hint they gave was Guillermo, which they even acknowledged. Is they said there's a thing where like she mentioned she's like the seventh youngest of of a family, and there's a thing where he brings up like the seventh born is a werewolf, and we'd always just kill them because of that. Yeah, and they also bring this part up in the movie. It's like, did you not hear? She's the seventh born.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I caught that too.
And I love it. He was like freaking like upset that he had to kill her too. It's like, I love you so much that I have to fucking kill you.
The third act of the movie is fucking nuts.
But yeah, like I just remember like she just got like whacked upside the head by the guy with the with like a poker, and just like after he's like, "Are you all right?" And just falls over the fireplace.
I forgot. Lands in the fireplace and just.
And it's like, we should go. Yeah, we should go.
Jesus fucking Christ. Now I remember. I think I repressed that memory because I was like, my God.
my god!
Like, and in that town is dead. That is a ghost town now.
Yeah, everyone except for the only survivors were Finn, Emerson, and hotel lady.
Yeah, Roberta, was that her name?
Let me check real quick. It is Janine.
Where am I getting these names?
No, like Roberts, Roberta. You really have to think the name's Robert for some reason.
I don't know what's happening today. Something's broken up here. I mean, I've always known that, but it's really evident today.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, God. I'm more speaking frustration for myself here.
Oh man, but
yeah,
like I said, there's a lot of other golden moments that I wish I could remember. And I'm annoyed because just watch this movie. It's like
I think it's gonna be a cult comedy movie. I feel like it's probably gonna pick up an audience over time. Like I said, I'm kind of mad that Ubisoft's the one that made it because I have to recommend something from Ubisoft, but because let me be clear, I do not support their abusive practices.
Yeah,
but I also can't deny when they make a good movie somehow.
Yeah, and when I say that they broke the video game curse of the first good movie, I will also acknowledge that for me, Detective Pikachu was arguably a decent movie. But this one. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it still was pretty generic and stuff. Whereas this was the first time I felt it tried to actually break outside the box in some way, and the way it did it and mostly succeeded is it's how did it take us this long? And from a game of freaking werewolf, all you do is say, "Hey, that's the guilty person."
That's because you can do whatever you want with it, kind of like Clue.
Yeah.
In a weird way, and it's sad when the only thing I can think of that comes close is the Castlevania series, and that also has problematic elements, not from the show because it's written by Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you know anything about all that.
I do not.
Warren Ellis, legendary comic book writer. Predator of women.
I'm not surprised.
I think over 200 documented cases.
Oh dear God!
Yeah, there's a pretty scathing long document that puts it all in great detail. And to his credit, probably one of the better apologies I've heard. Doesn't make it less disturbing.
Right.
So that's definitely what this movie and the Castlevania show. But it's they're so good. But there's that piece that's there that I have to acknowledge to some degree. But yeah, otherwise, if you can get past that, go watch it.
Yeah, so if you are more right-leaning, you're probably not going to enjoy this movie too much because all the reviews I just see all the negative reviews are basically just left woke crap. It's oh yeah, okay, clearly this pinched a nerve.
Oddly enough, they're probably the most sensitive group I've ever seen. Oh, Lord. I had a Reagan defender in my comments yesterday. That one took me by surprise. I was really? People are still ride or die over Reagan? Okay.
The one Republican who actually instituted gun regulation laws and also screwed over the gay community?
And fucked over everything else. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. Ooh, looks like Reaganomics is making a comeback.
Please no, never.
God, no, yeah.
We're still.
I'm trying to remember what it was I just remember it was in the Critic. It was something about selling arms to the enemies overseas and doing some other tax thing.
Well, we've always done that.
Yeah.
The problem is he introduced trickle-down economics into the zeitgeist. Not to mention the war on drugs, which was anyway. That's running enough topic.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, we both enjoyed this movie. Perfect? No, but it is damn solid.
It is entertaining and does exactly what it says it's going to do.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the other thing I'll say is I also appreciate all the characters felt unique and had their own little methodologies and personalities. Which can also be difficult sometimes, but everyone getting a little samey. But yeah, I'm glad they were just able to pull this off. That was nothing short of a freaking miracle.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I'm with you on there. So we're still kind of in catch up mode. We got Space Jam 2 that just came out that we need to watch.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen some clips. It is.
I've been told it is somehow even worse than the trailers let up on.
I don't know how many kids are going to get the Mad Max Fury Road and Casablanca references that are in there,
Or the Rick and Morty one.
or the Rick and Morty one. Yeah. So I don't know who that movie is made for, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like there's some tweet about the movie where it's like this movie was made for this is a children's movie. It's meant to be cheesy and stupid stuff. It's not meant for your 30-year-old ass. Then why do they have a Clockwork Orange reference in
I know,
here?
right?
Why do they have Rick and Morty and all this other stuff that is clearly meant for adults?
That is my thought exactly. So I was like, I get why they cut the Pepe Le Pew scene, but nobody took a second thought of putting the Clockwork Orange characters in there.
Funny thing is, like there's an actress in that scene who was like really pissed that scene got cut. She was like, that whole scene was about Pepe Le Pew getting his comeuppance.
Which, like, I could care less about that. Sure, like to me, that doesn't really matter. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. Again, it's more like.
Yeah,
I get why you cut that, but nobody's gave a second thought. Like, hey, maybe let's not have characters that are explicitly rapists.
Rapists.
Yeah, late in your movie. Is that a thing can we not do for kids?
Yeah, like that was the problem. There was just it was so damn hypocritical.
Yeah. So like, but yeah. So there's that. We're still catching up on movies from last week. And then I don't know what else is out right now. Probably something I need to watch. But I keep getting asked, like, I have this request to go see Arl the Alligator Boy on Netflix. So that's something we got to do eventually.
You heard that one?
I don't either have I, but anyway. So keep an eye out for all that. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.